Make sure you hold that finish. That's what we're working on today. We're not playing golf, we're working golf. Hold, feel, look. Good. Now if you want to take... Whenever you're ready.
Scott, first we're going to look at your putting. On the left is the video of your putting stroke at the beginning of the putting session, and on the right is toward the end of the session after we had talked about some of the fundamentals. First, let me review your setup. I like your setup a lot. You got a good width in your stance. I like the fact that you have tucked your elbows into your sides a little bit. That's pretty common on tour, so that looks really good. I'm going to take your putter back now, but before I do, I'm going to draw some lines here. You set your arms kind of in a Y position to the shaft. So as we go back, what I like to look at, there's your backswing, is did you keep the connection of your arms and the shaft? And you did. You still have that Y. You're not being wristy in your backswing at all. So that's very good. Then as you come forward, and hit the ball, you have your eyes down right now, but you did have a tendency to start turning very early, and that can cause it can cause you to alter the actual club face if you start turning a fraction earlier before impact. It may interfere with good square contact. So you would do better if you kept your posture and your head still until you have the guarantee that you hit through the ball. And the best way to guarantee that is not to turn until you feel your putter come to a complete stop on the other side at the end of the follow through. So as we look at your stroke on the right, when we worked and talked about this fundamental, as you hit the ball, your eyes are down. They're still down, they're still down, they're still down. You do an excellent job here. And you don't start turning, your putter's now come to a stop, and that's when it's okay to turn. Because now you know that you did not move during impact because you were not going to allow yourself to change your posture until your putter came to a complete stop on the other side. So that's very good. Now we're going to look at the chipping. We had talked about the importance of practicing different methods, different types of shots, different clubs around the green, because you're going to be facing a variety of situations and conditions around the green, and therefore you need a variety of methods and club choices to execute the shot the way you needed to execute it. So as you visualize a shot going to the hole, that type of shot that you visualize can be more easily created as you change clubs. So if you visualize a high shot, then you would use a more lofty club. If you visualize that you can get the ball to the hole with a lower shot, then you would use a lower lofty club. First, we're going to look at your setup. Now, you already had a pretty solid foundation of good fundamentals for your chipping. Your feet are a little closer together than they would be for a full swing. You definitely have your weight a little bit more on your front foot on the right video. The one on the left was your stroke before we started talking about some of the fundamentals. But the one on the left is still pretty good fundamentals. You arrived at the school with some pretty good ideas of good fundamentals for chipping. We emphasized a little bit the putting your weight on your left side a little bit more, and it does look like you've done that. You can see how your legs are angled a little bit more to the target on the right video than on the left video. Now as we take it back on the left, keeping your head very still, you can see how you're not moving that head at all. Very still there. And you're not swaying to the right, you're keeping your weight on top of that golf ball. Again, very still here. Now you have a little bit of a move, a little early move on the left of coming up a little bit too quick sometimes. And you pull up just a little early, and a little bit too much in your hands right there. One of the things that would help you to quieten your hands down so that you're not too wristy and handsy with these shots, but have a little bit stronger, more stable contact, is to set up with a little straighter arm. Instead of having these angles right here, if you would set up with a little bit straighter arm position, you might have to stand just slightly taller so that your left arm was, if you stood up straight and straighten your left arm out and just let it fall and rest on top of your chest and then tilt to the ground, that would come close to the position you would want to have. And so that you are swinging the club more by swinging your body. You want to kind of have your chest move to the target and not just your club head. You tend to want to just move the club head to the target, and you want to have a little bit more of a body swing with these. But this requires the club being connected to the core of the body by having a connected left arm to the chest. Attached to this video will be some other videos in the email that will show you some different chipping techniques by the pros. And I want you, when you see a face-on view, notice the left arm position and how straight that left arm is when they're doing these techniques and these chipping motions. And try to come close as possible to achieving that position in your left arm, and you'll find the arc of your golf swing, your golf circle, your chipping circle is an arc, and you want to stabilize it by having a constant radius. And you can have a constant radius if that left arm is straight. It's much harder if that elbow's bending or the wrist is bending, because that changes the size of your circle. It makes it expand and collapse as it's approaching the golf ball. And you're going to have a lot of mishits when you have that kind of fluctuation in the geometry of your swing.